Hey there, and welcome back to Discover What You Were Born to Do. This is week 11, and I'm so inspired by your persistence and the work you've done. No matter where you are in this journey, I know from experience that if you've come this far, the chances of you actually making the changes you want are very high. This week, we're going to talk about the power of committing to your career plan and the practical ways you can step into that commitment, even if it isn't perfect yet and you know it needs adjustment in the future. With the amazing array of new opportunities that we're flooded with every day, it's easy to get lost in a sea of choices or feel like you're missing out if you don't jump on every new hot deal. But the thing that takes a good idea and turns it into reality is steady, consistent, forward movement. And I don't say this as someone for whom consistency comes naturally. It's quite the opposite. But to climb a mountain, you have to find the energy to keep moving forward, regardless of what's going on around you. And that energy is commitment. As we get started, let's take a look at our roadmap, review what we've done so far, and see what we have left. Remember, to find work that matters to you, you need to know 3 things. The first is who you are. The second is how to make decisions that are aligned with who you are. And the third is what you want. And here's where we are on the roadmap. In week 9, we walked through a decision-making framework to help you choose your career path. Last week, we talked about troubleshooting tips to help you avoid common problems. This week, we'll talk about how to commit to your plan, even if it isn't perfect. And next week, our final week, we'll talk about how to make the career you want inevitable. This is the key many people don't understand, and it's the crucial difference between wanting a better career and actually making it happen. Before we do the breathing exercise, I want to check in with your survival brain. 11 weeks of change is a lot of continuous change, and it's a lot of information. Take a moment right now and check in with yourself. Are you feeling stress at the idea of having a set career plan? Are you avoiding it altogether, or are you excited about your future? As much as I want you to keep moving forward, I also don't want you to push too far and burn yourself out. Remember, discomfort can be a sign of growth, and that can be a good thing, but even too much good change can cause stress. Change is change, whether you think it's positive or negative. Getting married, having a baby, getting a new job, and moving into a new house are all good changes, but if you do them all in the same month, you will hit change saturation very quickly and burn out. Whether you're elated to charge into your career plan or you're hiding scared under the kitchen table, I invite you to take your internal temperature. Where are you on the continuum of change right now? If you're feeling stressed, take some time to rest and recharge before you introduce anything else that's new. Making slow and steady progress is how you stay in the game long term. One way to help your nervous system regulate is with the breathing exercise. So let's do that now. Wherever you are, bring your awareness into your body. Take a couple of slow, deep breaths. Now gently even out your inhale and your exhale. As you even out your inhale and your exhale, and as you're ready, elongate your exhale. Nothing extreme, just a little bit longer than your inhale. I'm going to hold you here for one more minute to practice, but listen to your body and only stick with the pattern as long as it's comfortable. You'll hear some music in the background so you know I'm here, and at the end of 1 minute, I'll let you know. Great. You can let go of the breathing pattern and come back into a regular breath. Now that you're in a more relaxed and creative state, I want you to imagine your ideal career 10 years from now. As you wake up and open your eyes for the day, notice how you feel this morning. As you move through this ideal workday, I really want you to pay attention to how different your moods are from when you hated your work 10 years ago. How has this career changed your interactions with other people? Do you feel more relaxed? What's different about your mood? Now take a moment and notice how you feel about doing the work that you had envisioned so long ago. Is there a sense of excitement or hopefulness about what you're doing now? How has this career change affected your relationships in your personal life? Think about what improvements have happened, big and small. How has working in this new career changed your ability to care for your own needs? And what's different about the way you approach your commitments now? And as the day winds down, notice your energy levels. Do you have a lot of energy left over from the day? And how is your mood? And as you end the day, close your eyes and take a deep breath and feel the satisfaction for the work you've done today. Great. You can come back into the present moment. The more time you can spend imagining the future you want, the easier it will become to come up with new ideas and insights. Sometimes you can't quit your job right away, but you can do your best to envision your new plan, think about your future, and keep yourself mentally in the right frame of mind. So let's dive into the topic for today. Our level of commitment to our work is the difference between our hobbies and our life's work, or what we often call our career. It's the difference between amateurs and professionals. Commitment is the promise that we make to ourselves that filters out the busyness of life and keeps us focused on the goals that really matter to us. This isn't to say that your work should take precedence over everything else in your life or that people who are committed to their work are better than people who aren't. In my view, your work in this world has no contribution to your actual worth as a person on this planet. Your work can be and is meant to be, if you choose, an outpouring of who you are. But regardless of what you do, you're worthy simply because you're here. You don't need to prove why you should exist. Being committed to your work is also not a moral issue. It doesn't make you a good person or a bad person. The person who can't work or who chooses to contribute in other ways is equally as valuable as someone who is committed to their career goals. What commitment gives you, whether it's in your work, your relationships, or your personal goals, is staying power. It's that magnet that keeps you stuck to the track when life gets chaotic. And it's that loving, herding dog who gently guides you back to your path when you get lost or you want to quit. Commitment also isn't all or nothing. This isn't totally committed or not committed at all. Like many things, there are levels of commitment, and it's worth investigating so you can be intentional and make conscious choices about your time and energy. Sometimes we think we're committed or we mean to be committed, but really we're in a different stage. It's not good or bad, but it's helpful to know where you are. I want you to consider the energy required in these 4 statements. I want to find a new career. I'm trying to find a new career. I have decided to find a new career, and I am committed to finding a new career. The differences may seem subtle, and you can think that it doesn't matter, but those 4 stages, want, try, decide, and commit, take very different levels of energy. Wanting to find a career is nice. Wishes and desires are a good thing, but wanting something is just a mental exercise. It doesn't require anything of you. It might seem like you're doing something, but a desire can't produce a result on its own. Trying to find a new career is the next level. It means you're making attempts and you're taking action, and that's great. You're sticking your toe in the water to test the temperature. But in the trying stage, if it's too hard or too much work, you might just give up or try something else. You haven't risked very much, so it's easy to walk away. Deciding brings a whole new energy. Deciding is where you can start to take action. This is where you get serious. You make a choice and you start aligning your life and your resources to achieve your goals. When you commit to finding a new career, it's as if your entire internal world realigns to make that goal a primary focus. A commitment is binding and it holds weight like a vow. If you break it, there are consequences. It impacts your character, your reputation, and most of all, your relationship with yourself. Commitment requires full energy and focus. It means that no matter what, no matter how many course corrections you need, no matter how long it takes you, You're committed to seeing this through to the end. Knowing your level of commitment is really important in the decision-making process because each stage requires a different level of energy and it produces a different result. Making a commitment to finding a new career is the turning point in this course. You can do all of the work, listen to each lesson, and complete each and every exercise, but if you don't make an internal commitment to put that work to action, all you have is a nice, neat plan that will sit on a shelf. Planning is necessary, but planning and doing are two fundamentally different activities. Commitment requires courage, and it requires vulnerability and action on your part. A lot of people I speak with tell me they have great ideas, but they don't know why nothing ever comes of it. If you know who you are and you know what you want, but nothing is happening, we need to take a look at your level of commitment. This isn't to shame or disparage your efforts, but because your level of commitment determines how much influence your survival brain has over your actions. When you're in the want or the try stage, the primal brain has a lot of fuel. Your determination is weak in those stages, so you're easy to keep in homeostasis. It's like being in a boat, but being tied to the dock. You can't get very far. The closer you get to making a commitment, the less power your survival brain has over you. And when you cut off all other options and make a commitment that no matter how long it takes, no matter how hard it is, you're going to keep moving forward, you cut that cord and start moving forward. The beauty and gift of commitment is that it stops the noise and massive energy drain of indecision. It allows your brain some degree of certainty. Instead of spending 30 years thinking, I don't know, maybe I do want a career, maybe I don't, you simply commit and go for it. One reason we don't want to commit is because with commitment comes responsibility. When you're willing to commit to yourself, you're taking responsibility for yourself and what happens to you. You're stepping into that role of CEO of your career and your life. This doesn't mean you accept responsibility for things you didn't do, and it doesn't mean you caused any of the negative circumstances in your life. You simply can't be responsible for someone else's actions. But you can decide to solve the problem in front of you. You can accept the situation for what it is and be the adult in the room. The benefit of accepting responsibility is that it gives you power. When you own a problem, you have the authority to change it. Not taking responsibility for your career may seem easier from the outside, but it's a false ease. It's stagnant, bitter, and frustrating. When you aren't taking responsibility for what you can control, you don't have control over anything, and you have to take what comes. This doesn't feel like peace or freedom. Freedom and peace come when you're willing to take ownership, solve problems, and move your life in the direction you want it to go. Again, I am not suggesting that circumstances in your life aren't hard and challenging. I'm also not suggesting that you cause the circumstances in your life now or in the past, or that you can fix everything that's wrong in the world. What I am saying is that if you're willing to take responsibility for directing your career from now on, you can take steps to create freedom for yourself and for others. Another reason we aren't committed to our goals is because we're overcommitted in general. Conventional wisdom tells us that we only have enough energy for a few solid commitments at any one time, usually 3 or less. Overcommitment is pervasive in our culture. Not only are the options in our life exponentially greater than they were 100 years ago, but the pressures to produce more at work, at home, and socially pushes people to say yes to things that they don't realistically have time or energy for. Even the people who look like they have it all together don't. They are cutting corners somewhere and sacrificing in places they wish they weren't. You just can't see it. And much to my dismay, we live in a world of limits. We have limited time and limited energy. The idea that we can keep growing and producing without taking care of ourselves is simply not grounded in reality. All you have to do is look at the stock market. Every bull market ends at some point. Now, if you've overcommitted yourself, it's okay. Again, it's not a moral failing. It's just a problem to solve. All it means is that you've agreed to do more than you actually have energy, time, or desire for. The real issue with overcommitment is that it means you aren't truly committed to anything. it usually means you're in the want or try phase with most things you've agreed to, but you don't have the resources to really be all in. If you've ever wondered why you don't do the things you say you'll do, or that you really want to do, check your commitment levels. You aren't lazy or weak willed, you just don't have enough energy to make everything you've committed to happen all at once, and that's okay. Now, before you commit to your career path, I encourage you to look over your plan one last time. Double check that you aren't overcommitted and that your plan really aligns with who you are, your preferences, your natural strengths, and most importantly, ensure that it's what you want to do, not what you think you should be doing and not what society has told you to do. If you're doing a job because you should, or because it's your duty, or because you believe that doing it will get you recognition from the outside world or that it makes you a good person, it's very likely you'll lose motivation when those external sources don't meet your expectations. At some point, people and institutions are likely to fail you. I don't mean to sound cynical, and I'm not saying that we're islands that don't need each other and that external validation has no place, but I want to acknowledge that people are human. We all make mistakes, and sometimes we can't be there for each other. This is why you need to be doing work that matters to you. Your career, your mission, and your vision needs to pull you forward, even if no one else cares about it but you, even if you don't get awards, and even if people disagree with you. To endure, your career has to be intrinsically motivating. Ideally, it's something that you would do even if you didn't get recognized or paid for it. It needs to be something that you think matters and is worth doing, even if no one else does. And you know people with careers like this. They march to their own drummer. They do their work for the sheer joy and satisfaction it brings them. They may not get recognition, but that's not the driving force that gets them up every morning. If you're feeling resistance to committing to a career path, double check and make sure you aren't trying to commit to something that you should be doing with your willpower. Also, make sure you aren't imagining that you're going to be able to stick to your commitment with force and massive effort. If so, I would highly encourage you to go back to week 9 and rework your plan. Really take time and figure out what you want to be doing. If you could have any career path and any life you wanted, what would that look like? This is important because, as I've said before, willpower is a short-term energy. It's a flimsy long-term solution because that's not what it's designed for. When you're aligned with what you truly want to do and who you truly are, making a commitment doesn't feel like a huge barrier to overcome. It's a feeling of excitement about going all in. It's like being invited to an amazing trip that you've been dreaming about all of your life. When the opportunity arises, you get excited and it's an easy, energetic yes. That's the same type of energy you want here. It's a feeling of, yes, of course I want to do that. That's awesome. If you aren't excited about committing to the plan you've made, go back and take a look at your plan and find the areas you're resisting and get curious about why. Don't try to plaster over it and make it better. Spend the time you need and be honest about what you really want to be doing with your life. When you are ready to commit, when it's an easy, energetic yes, you're ready for the next step. The first thing you need to consider as you commit is who do you need to be to achieve your vision. And I'm not saying you need to become someone you aren't, quite the opposite. I'm asking, how do you become the version of yourself who can achieve this vision? What do you need to let go of? Maybe you need to let go of expectations or old ideas about who you should be. Or maybe you need to let go of labels that limit you. And maybe you need to let go of people's opinions who don't matter. Dr. Brené Brown, a research professor at the University of Houston who studies courage, vulnerability, shame, and empathy, talks about the balance between not caring what anyone thinks and being defined by what people think. She says, when you don't care about what anyone thinks, you lose your capacity for connection. When you're defined by what people think, you lose the courage to be vulnerable. And creating something new like a career requires you to be connected and to be vulnerable. To find the balance, she recommends getting a very small piece of paper, like 1 inch by 1 inch, and on that paper, you write the names of people's opinions who actually matter to you. And the people who should be on your list are the people who love you, not despite your vulnerability and imperfections, but because of your vulnerability and imperfections. If you're held back by the opinions of others, I've included a link in the transcript to a video where she talks about how to create your own list of people whose opinion should actually matter to you. In order to step forward into something you really want, you have to let go of the things you're hanging on to that are holding you back. Things like the weight that naysayers have in how you're living your life. Imagine you're on a climbing wall and you're reaching for that next handhold. In order to climb any higher, you have to let go of the holds below you. This doesn't mean you have to cut people out of your life forever or eradicate every old habit, but it does require something to shift that allows you to grow and reach for your dreams. As you commit, also consider what you need to embrace. Maybe you need to embrace setting boundaries and standing up for yourself. Or maybe you need to find ways to create the habits that will help you be consistent. Or maybe you need to embrace the idea that it is safe for you to create the life you want. Ask yourself what other beliefs, relationships, behaviors, or situations you need to embrace to be able to fulfill your vision. Sometimes commitment means committing financial resources, and sometimes it means committing time resources, but it always means committing your mental energy. This means being in your own corner, having your own back, and fostering and enduring faith in yourself. Commitment is the mindset of change. So, we've finally arrived. This week, if you're satisfied with your career plan and if you feel excited about going all in and saying yes, make a commitment to yourself to do what it takes to create the career that matters most to you. Once you've made a commitment, you may find it helpful to write it down and put it where you can see it. If rituals help you remember, do something meaningful and significant to help you integrate your commitment into life. If sharing your commitment helps you stay focused, share it with the people you trust to help you turn this dream into a reality. You can also share it with me. I have many clients who share their visions with me and ask me to touch base with them from time to time to help encourage them on their journey. Whatever you do, when you make the commitment, take a moment and feel the clarity and peace that commitment brings. So, let's put all of this into practice. The exercises for this week are designed to help you step into a commitment to your career vision, to help you make a commitment to yourself to create the career and the life that you want most. In the first exercise, you'll double-check if your plan aligns with who you are. Look back at your career plan, the vision, mission, values, strategy, goals, and tactics that you set in week 9 and double-check your plan. Does it line up with your personal preferences? Does it align with how you want to feel in your career? Does it line up with your natural strengths like your Kolbe score? Does it align with your learned skills and abilities? And does it line up with your zone of genius, that area where your strengths overlap? How does this plan feel in your body? Does your plan feel contracted or expansive? What is your gut instinct telling you about it? When you think about your plan, does it feel exciting? And does this plan line up with the lifestyle that you want for yourself? If you answered no to any of these questions, go back and figure out how you can bring that area into alignment with who you are and what you want. In the second exercise, you'll take a look at your change saturation level. First, how many changes are going on in your life right now? Second, how many major changes have happened to you in the last year and in the last 2 years? Are you at your change saturation max? If so, how can you reduce the amount of change happening in your life right now to allow room for this career change? The third exercise can help you see if you're overcommitted. First, write down all of your commitments in one column. This is your family, pets, jobs, volunteering, laundry, sleep, everything that you've agreed to do in your life, including the things you need to do to take care of yourself. In the second column, write down your level of effort for each task. Rate them from 1 to 10, 1 taking the least amount of effort. In the third column, write down your level of commitment to each task. Is it at the want, try, decide, or commit level? For instance, if you wrote down making your bed, are you committed to doing it every day, or do you just do your best and try to get it done when you can? Now, look at the items you've marked as committed. If it's more than 3 that take a high level of effort, you may want to take a closer look. And if you're feeling stressed out, overwhelmed, or you don't often follow through on what you say you're going to do, you may be able to see here that you're overcommitted. If you do determine that you're overcommitted, rank your commitments in order of importance and brainstorm ways you can get your list down to 3 commitments, including your career change. This might look like reducing your level of commitment to an activity, delegating it to someone else, hiring someone to help you, or putting it off to a later date. The more you're able to reduce the things that you're 100% committed to, the more traction you'll be able to gain on the things that really matter to you. In the fourth exercise, you'll commit to your new career path. Looking back at your plan from week 9, make a commitment to yourself to start moving forward with your plan. It doesn't have to be perfect, and you can adjust it as you go, but make a promise to yourself to begin creating the career you want and doing the work that matters most to you. Second, write your commitment down somewhere that you can see it often. 3, if rituals help you remember your commitment, do that now. And 4, if sharing your commitment helps you stay focused, share it with the people you trust to help you turn your dreams into a reality. You can also share it with me. I would love to help you stay focused and encourage you on your journey. In the last exercise, you'll look at who you need to become to reach your goal. What do you need to do to become the version of yourself who can achieve your vision? List the beliefs, relationships, behaviors, or situations you need to let go of. Next, list the beliefs, relationships, behaviors, and situations that you need to embrace. As usual, there are some common mind traps that show up when people consider making a commitment to themselves and their career. Mind trap number 1 is it's not a perfect plan. There's a fine line between not enough planning and trying to achieve perfection. Having a perfect plan is a myth because plans need to adjust as you gain more information and experience. Waiting until you have a perfect plan is waiting to have more certainty than is actually possible. But I understand why the desire for certainty is there. Change is risky, but waiting is also risky. And it's a way we put off taking action. It's usually fear-based and another way you keep your mind stuck. If you're facing the mind trap of wanting a perfect plan, give yourself a deadline to figure out how to take the first step. Give yourself a week or 2, but not more than 30 days. And when the deadline arrives, pull the pin. You can adjust and rework your plan if necessary down the road, but there's value in getting started. And if you're really struggling, reach out to me. I am happy to look at your plan and help you figure out how to get going. Mind trap number 2 is my past limits me. A lot of us have had very challenging childhoods and past experiences, and most everyone has a part of their life that they regret or they wish were different. And it's easy to focus on what we lack or the barriers that exist because of our past. I don't want to dismiss the impact that your past has had on your life, but I've also seen from firsthand experience and through the stories of others who've come through adversity that our past doesn't have to define or limit our future. There are people who've created careers that matter to them from all kinds of backgrounds. There are Olympians who had Olympic parents, and there are those who didn't. There are families made up of generations of entrepreneurs, and there are people who are the first business owners in their family. Wherever you are and whatever your background, you can make a turn and go in a different direction. And taking a look at how your past affects you is useful if you're using it for personal growth and for healing. But if you're using it to justify why you can't achieve your dreams, your brain may be using it as a way to herd you back into homeostasis. What I know is that if you have a vision, there is a way for you to work toward it regardless of your background. Mind trap number 3 is when-then thoughts. When-then can sound like when I feel more secure, then I'll be ready to take action. It can also sound like when I have enough money, then I'll think about changing my career. When the kids graduate high school, then I'll do what I want to do. When the stress of this job slows down, then I'll take care of my needs. The combinations of when then are endless. But all when then is a very persuasive reason to not take action. It sounds logical and it's hard for people to argue with, but there are several problems with this mindset. One is that the goalpost tends to move farther and farther away. Once the kids graduate high school, turns when they graduate from college, when they get married, and so on. Unfortunately, there isn't a perfect time to change or start anything. There will always be barriers and logical reasons that you can use to justify why waiting makes sense not to do something you want to do. If you notice the mindset of when then appearing, don't ask yourself if this is the right time, but how you can start taking action now, even though the timing isn't perfect. As we wrap up today, I want to encourage you to bet on yourself. Bet on your ability to find the work that will fulfill and sustain you for years to come. This is where you grab the wheel and you start turning the ship toward the life and the career you want most. So let's get you set up for the week with a clear plan of action. This week, double check your plan and make a commitment to get started. I also recommend you read the quick morning emails to help you integrate what you're learning and do at least 1 minute of the breathing exercise every day. As always, you can find all of the research and exercises I've mentioned today in the transcript that's available for download anywhere you're listening to this. Next week is our final week in this format together, and I have a crucial concept to share with you: how to make the career you want a sure thing. There are key principles that you need to know that go beyond making a commitment. A mindset and method that will not only make your journey easier, but will also set you on a path where realizing your dream is inevitable. To close, I want to acknowledge the work you've done. I know that making a commitment to yourself can feel risky, and that's because it is. In a world that demands your conformity, committing yourself to the work you want to do is an act of rebellion, a rebellion that will change the world. I'll talk to you next time.